Welcome back, warriors of light. The journey of a chosen one is never smooth. It's not just about stepping into purpose and rising in wisdom. It's about navigating the obstacles set by those who never wanted to see you thrive. Some people around you couldn't stand your light, your growth, or your resilience. So they conspired, they deceived, and they slandered. They thought they had the upper hand, that their lies would stick, and that their manipulation would hold power over you. But the universe operates on divine order. And now, their shame is overwhelming them. Their masks are falling, and they are exposed in ways they never anticipated. The truth has a voice that echoes louder than lies ever could. This video is about what happens when those who schemed against you are forced to face the consequences of their own actions. They wanted you broken, humiliated, and defeated, but instead, they found themselves drowning in the mess they created. Their desperation is growing. Their fake confidence is crumbling. And now, the embarrassment they never thought they'd experience is consuming them. If you resonate with this message, don't forget to subscribe, because here we reveal the unseen and empower the chosen. Every action has a reaction. The people who sought to harm you never truly believed they would face consequences for their behavior. They thought they could lie, manipulate, and deceive with no repercussions. They saw their schemes work in the short term and assumed that meant they had won. But the universe does not operate on human timing. What they failed to understand is that energy always returns to its source. Every false accusation, every whispered lie, every attempt to discredit you, none of it disappears into thin air. It lingers in the spiritual realm, waiting for the right moment to return to its sender. At first, they felt invincible. They enjoyed the attention, the sense of power, and the temporary victories they achieved through deception. They mocked you, laughed behind your back, and celebrated your struggles, believing they were in control. But as time passed, cracks began to appear in their illusion. Their lies started to contradict each other. People who once believed them began to notice inconsistencies. The web they spun became too tangled to maintain, and suddenly, they found themselves ensnared in their own deceit. One of the most devastating aspects of karma is that it doesn't just affect a single moment, it creates a ripple effect. The people they deceived are now seeing the truth, and the reactions are not what they expected. Instead of praise, they're met with doubt. Instead of validation, they're questioned. The same tactics they used to bring you down are now being used against them. Their paranoia increases, their relationships crumble, and their desperation grows. The boomerang has returned, and it has no mercy. They are losing control, and it terrifies them. They never considered that they would be exposed, that people would see through them, and that the very lies they created would be their downfall. Now, they're left scrambling, trying to fix what can no longer be repaired. Their shame is unbearable because it's public, undeniable, and relentless. The truth is out, and they are powerless to stop it. Their choices have led them to this moment. They are humiliated, not because of what you did, but because of what they did to themselves. And as much as they wish they could erase their actions, the past cannot be undone. They set this chain of events into motion, and now they must live with the consequences. Lies are temporary, but truth is eternal. For a while, they were able to manipulate perceptions, twist narratives, and make themselves appear as the victims, or the righteous ones. They thrived on deception, using it as a weapon to control how others viewed you. They enjoyed the power they held when they could whisper falsehoods and have people believe them. It gave them a sense of superiority, making them feel untouchable. But the problem with deception is that it always has an expiration date. No lie can last forever. Over time, the inconsistencies in their stories started to show. People who once supported them began to ask questions. Why do their stories keep changing? Why do the details never seem to align? One by one, the people they fooled started to connect the dots. Some dismissed their words altogether, realizing they had been deceived. Others confronted them, demanding answers. And with every question, their mask began to slip. The pressure of maintaining the illusion became too much to bear. What they never anticipated was how humiliating it would be when the truth finally emerged. They assumed they could control the narrative forever, that people would never suspect them. But now, the very people they once manipulated are looking at them with doubt, suspicion, and even disgust. Their greatest fear has come true. The facade they carefully constructed has crumbled, and they are left exposed. The lies they crafted to destroy you have instead destroyed their own credibility. And the worst part? They can't escape it. The weight of their deceit is suffocating them. Everywhere they go, they feel the silent judgment of those who now know the truth. They sense the shift in energy, the way conversations die when they walk into a room, the way people no longer trust them. Their social circles are shrinking, their influence is fading, and their reputation is in ruins. The power they once held over others has vanished, and in its place is a deep, unshakable embarrassment. They are now prisoners of their own dishonesty. Every time they try to deny what they did, they only dig themselves deeper. Every attempt to justify their actions only makes them look more desperate. The very lies they use to manipulate others have become chains around their own necks. They see it now. The impact of their actions, the destruction they caused, and the irreversible damage to their own name. And in those quiet moments, when no one is watching, they feel the weight of their own regret pressing down on them. This is what happens when you build your life on deception. This is what happens when you try to destroy someone who is protected by divine justice. They are not just embarrassed, they are undone. They believed they could bury the truth, but all they did was dig their own grave. Now, as the world watches them unravel, they are forced to sit in the ruins of their own making, and no amount of denial can save them now. They thought they had escaped judgment, that they had successfully rewritten history in their favor. But what they didn't realize is that justice moves in silence. It doesn't announce itself with grand proclamations or immediate retribution. It works behind the scenes, orchestrating events that bring everything into balance. They were confident, even arrogant, thinking their actions would never catch up to them. But the hand of divine justice is precise, and when it moves, it leaves no room for escape. At first, the consequences arrived subtly. Small inconveniences, minor setbacks, whispers of doubt in the people around them. But as time passed, the weight of their actions began to manifest in undeniable ways. Opportunities that once came easily to them started slipping through their fingers. Relationships they depended on for validation and power began to fracture. The same people who once cheered them on are now hesitant, avoiding their calls, no longer willing to stand beside them. They sense it, the shift, the unraveling, and it terrifies them. Justice doesn't always strike with thunder. Sometimes it comes in the form of isolation. They find themselves alone, forced to sit with their actions, to confront the wreckage they created. No amount of excuses, manipulation, or justification can change the reality of what they've done. And the worst part? The very people they sought to impress, to win over at your expense, now see them for who they truly are. Their deception is no longer a secret, and the weight of public judgment is heavier than they ever imagined. They try to play it off, to act as if nothing is wrong, but deep down, they know. Every interaction is tainted with an unspoken truth. Every glance, every pause in conversation, every forced smile is a reminder that people see them differently now. They are no longer the admired, the respected, or the trusted. They are the deceiver, the one who stooped too low, the one whose reputation is now permanently stained. What they failed to realize was that divine justice is not about revenge. It is about revelation. It is about exposing the hidden, bringing light to what was done in darkness. It does not seek to harm, but it does demand accountability. And now, as they sit in the ruins of their own creation, they finally understand what they refused to believe before. No one escapes the consequences of their actions forever. And the irony? You never had to lift a finger. You never had to seek vengeance or fight back. The truth did all the work for you. What they planned for you has come back upon them, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Their embarrassment is not just about being caught. It's about knowing that they can never undo what has been revealed. Their exposure is permanent, and the shame they feel is a direct reflection of the choices they made. Now, they are left with nothing but regret, watching as the life they once controlled slips further and further out of their grasp. They thought they were in control. They believed their words held power, that their manipulations would be enough to maintain their illusion forever. But now, their tactics no longer work. The charm they once used to deceive people has lost its effect. Their lies have turned against them. Their masks have slipped, and the audience they once played for has left the theater. What happens when the deceiver loses control? Panic sets in. Desperation takes over. They scramble to regain their footing, to rewrite the narrative once again, but it's too late. The same people who once listened to them now see through them. Their influence is fading, their credibility is shattered, and they are left gasping for relevance. They try to make amends, not because they are truly sorry, but because they fear the consequences. They offer weak apologies, carefully crafted statements meant to salvage their reputation rather than express genuine remorse. But no one is fooled. Those who once stood by them are now distant, unwilling to be associated with their deception. They are learning the hard way that manipulation only works for so long before reality demands payment. There is an unmistakable shift in power, and they feel it. The control they once had over the situation is slipping through their fingers like sand. They can no longer dictate how people see you. They can no longer twist the truth to their advantage. The more they try, the worse it gets. The more they push, the further they fall. And here's the part they never saw coming. Your silence is louder than their noise. While they scramble to clean up their mess, you have moved forward. You didn't have to expose them. You didn't have to seek revenge. The universe did it for you. And now, their downfall serves as proof that no weapon formed against you could ever prosper. They watch as you rise, as you step into your purpose with confidence, while they remain trapped in the consequences of their own making. And the most painful part for them, they realize that they were never as powerful as they thought. They see now that their victories were illusions, built on a foundation of deception that could never stand the test of time. Their worst fear has become their reality. They are no longer taken seriously. Their words hold no weight. Their actions have consequences they can't escape. And no matter how much they wish they could undo what has been revealed, the truth remains, staring them in the face, reminding them of every choice they made that led them to this moment. What happens when the manipulator loses control? They are left with nothing but themselves. And for them, that is the most terrifying fate of all. They can feel the isolation creeping in. The people who once flocked to them, who believed their lies and entertained their deception, are now keeping their distance. They are no longer sought after, no longer the center of attention. The very crowd they worked so hard to impress has abandoned them, and they are left standing in the ruins of their own reputation. This is what happens when the foundation you build your life upon is not truth, but manipulation. For a time, it seemed to work. They gained influence. They convinced others of their false narratives, and they thrived on the idea that they had successfully turned people against you. But what they failed to realize is that lies have a short lifespan. They require constant maintenance, constant reinforcement, and the moment they are exposed, the entire structure crumbles. Now, they are left with nothing but regret. They replay their actions in their mind, trying to pinpoint where they went wrong. Was it when they first spread that rumor? Was it when they chose to betray someone who had never done them wrong? Was it when they convinced themselves that they were untouchable? The truth is, it wasn't just one mistake. It was a series of choices that led them here. And now, they can feel the weight of those choices pressing down on them. Every time they enter a room, they wonder who knows. Every time they speak, they can sense the doubt in people's eyes. Conversations are shorter. Interactions feel forced, and they no longer have the ability to control the way people see them. Their words, once powerful and persuasive, now fall flat. No one believes them anymore. They thought their greatest power was their ability to manipulate others. But now, their greatest fear has become their reality. They have lost all credibility. No matter how hard they try to spin the situation, people have already made up their minds. They are no longer the trusted, the admired, the respected. They are the deceiver, the betrayer, the one who went too far. In the silence of their own thoughts, they finally see themselves clearly. They see the damage they caused, the relationships they destroyed, the bridges they burned. And for what? A temporary sense of power, a fleeting moment of victory. Now, they are left with nothing but their own reflection. And for the first time, they don't like what they see. The humiliation isn't just public, it's internal. They are haunted by their own actions, tormented by the realization that they did this to themselves. No one forced them to betray you. No one made them spread lies. They had a choice, and they chose wrong. And now, they are forced to live with the consequences. This is the reality of those who seek to destroy the chosen. They never succeed. They only end up exposing themselves. And the more they tried to hurt you, the more they set themselves up for their own downfall. Now, They must face the shame of knowing that their own actions are the reason they are where they are. And no matter how much they wish they could undo it, the truth remains. They are left with nothing but regret, watching as you move forward while they remain trapped in the mess they created. You never had to fight them. You never had to chase after justice, expose their lies, or seek revenge. The truth took care of everything for you. And now they sit in the aftermath of their own choices, realizing too late that what they did to you was never about you. It was always about them. Their actions were a reflection of their own insecurities, their own jealousy, and their own emptiness. And now they are forced to sit in that emptiness. The people they once used as pawns in their schemes are gone. The audience they once played for is no longer watching. The power they thought they had over you has evaporated. They are left with nothing but their own shame, their own regret, and the unbearable weight of knowing they have no one to blame but themselves. What is done in darkness will always be exposed in the light. The best part? You never had to step outside of your character. You never had to stoop to their level. While they were consumed by lies, you remained grounded in truth. While they sought to destroy, you continued to build. And now you are free. Their humiliation is not your responsibility. Their shame is not your burden to carry. The weight of their actions belongs to them alone. And while they remain trapped in their own downfall, you are rising. You are moving forward, stronger, wiser, and untouched by the chaos they tried to pull you into. Their story ends in regret, but yours is just beginning. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and join the community of The Chosen. Until next time, keep walking in your purpose. The world needs your light.